Hello ladies and gents, welcome to a new Night POV review. In front of us is the new MG ZS. This is the luxury trim and hybrid plus. Inside is the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol with 102 horsepower, and it has also an electric motor with 136 horsepower. The combined system horsepower is limited to 197 horsepower. It is also linked to 3-speed automatic. Now we're going to check out the performance of these LED headlights outside the city. There's no street lights. We're sitting on 18-inch alloys. Fairly comfortable suspension, but you can feel the slightly harsh 18-inch. In the lower trims you get a lower dimension and you have more comfort. Now if we check out the back end of the car, we have the new signature of the LED taillights, and if we open the boot space, we have quad lights, so 443 liters of cargo space, 1457 if I'm not mistaken when you knock down the rear bench. Now, I was supposed to get this car much earlier, but it got sold and I was waiting for the new one to be registered. So it's finally here. I'm gonna put the key in my pocket and let's jump in. So before I buckle in, I'm going to connect the Apple CarPlay. For Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you do need to use the USB cable, in this case A to C. Now there's no wireless charger unfortunately in this car, or this is the top trim, so you'll have to use the cable, I guess. Buckle in and let's start the car. So there we go. Okay, it usually starts from the first try, but I think I haven't pressed it maybe correctly. Anyways, we have a green icon here. Now this is the new interior, so let me just share a little bit light inside, considering that it has no ambient lights. I can't remember if the previous generation had those and they've removed it. I'm not sure. I think maybe I forgot. I sadly didn't have it on test. I only filmed it on a car show, specifically I think Belgrade Auto Show. Now here you have the AC controls. I'm gonna keep it on low so you can hear better the engine, so the fans are not too loud. Infotainment is great, huge improvement. It's obvious they've put a lot of budget in this. Navigation, I'm just want to show you here, it's stuck on day mode, so I've covered it with a hand so the camera doesn't get messed up. I'm going to use Apple CarPlay. We're going to use Waze so you can see the big nice real estate of the screen. We have here the digital cockpit, and I have here the right star is for recuperation. I'm going to keep it at the highest recuperation, and this one is for 360 parking. You can see here cameras. If I use turn signals, it's going to show sides. Here, if you hear the rear camera, excellent resolution. There's a little film grain, but it's just pretty great. Now you can see here clock. If you press this one for display, then you can swipe these and you can see additional information. I did a fuel consumption test, so 3.8 was my lowest, actually 3.7 for a brief moment, but I got it under 4 liters. This is really efficient. I think we've had similar with the MG3, so very efficient car. Here you can see the energy flow. I might keep that on, and car is technically on, so let's head out. Before we do that, I'm going to put it to reverse. I'm just going to go a little bit more back. You can see here how it reacts, and there's centimeters on the front. On the front, there's no parking sensors. you do have the camera, so it's not a big deal for parking, but I think you need to go for the HS in order to get the front parking sensors, so they just limited in this model. Now the petrol has kicked in because the battery is under 50%, and the system usually likes it to be more than 50%, so you can hear the petrol as well. Now you can see here the energy flow, and the thing's far away. I'm gonna head out. So I just noticed that this street light has been swapped for LED. The intersection is not yet, but it's a bit different. You can see the headlights. Now, I'm just gonna slow down and see if it's gonna kick back into EV. No. So you might see here there's a HEV, so hybrid system is on, and when it turns off the petrol, it just says EV. So if you don't have the energy flow, you can see the difference that way, besides hearing it, obviously. Now, there is this pedestrian warning system. It's really nice and subtle when you're going in a fully EV mode, and it, of course, only turns on at low speeds up to, I think, 40 kilometers per hour. Now, what's interesting, I've read that you can drive this up to 60 kilometers EV only, but I've managed to do it at 70 and 80 kilometers per hour. So I think it just depends on the battery charge level. Now, suspension, nice and comfy for the most part. Some harsh bumps you can feel again that it's 18-inch. If it was a lower tire trim engine, you would have more rubber and it would be more comfier. Now the petrol is 102 horsepower, naturally aspirated, but with the aid of the electric motor, it just speeds up very nicely. Now this was the new regulations, so it's a little trim for the speed when you're going over, and you can actually go here into the vehicle setting, and in the MG Pilot you're gonna say off, so you have to disable it every time. MG didn't have that, but I've mentioned that Renault had that little button on the side, so they've added this. It's not really one step, but 2 steps, but you can disengage it. So maybe there is an option to create a profile, maybe then you can disable it, but in this case, if you don't have a profile, this is the way it works. I've used the turn signal. When you're stationary, it engages the camera of the side repeater, so that's cool. And now you can see here the energy flow. We're driving electric, and you can hear there's a lack of petrol sound. The petrol isn't too loud. It is super loud when you floor it. It's just screaming. You will hear that on the highway when we reach there, but it's fine for the most part. So now it's kicked in. You can see here the energy flow, and it's not that loud. Now what is loud are these tires, and I think if this car had maybe tires that are low rolling resistance and had a maybe less noise, this car would be perfect. I can hear the tires all the time a little bit. Now there are driving modes, and I'm usually driving in the normal. If I switch to the sport, the steering is more heavy, it's more precise, so it gives you more feedback. There's an eco mode, but I actually never drive that. Maybe you would want to engage that if you're low on fuel and you are afraid you won't make it to the to the gas station. Almost said charging station. I'm a EV owner, so it's become a new habit. You can see already here a little performance of the LED headlights because there's constructions here, so they removed the street lights on the left side. But we're gonna see the full performance outside the city. Now, I'm letting go. The car is recuperating and recharging the battery, so I think we're close to enough charge. So the car will just switch to EV, and we can drive in an EV. So if you accelerate gently, it's going to keep driving EV. If you floor it, it's just going to kick in the petrol, obviously. Now this is just EV, and again, the tires are just a bit noisy on the rough surface. But I do enjoy EV driving, and this car can really drive a lot. Don't ask me the kilometers because it's just going to decide it wants to recharge the battery. So there's no dedicated EV button. You can force it to drive fully. Now the battery is 1 point. I forgot now. 1.87 kilowatts. I'm gonna retype it or just put it in the video description. It's less than actual 1 kilowatt hour battery, and why I'm saying this because currently when this was launched, this was the largest battery inside the hybrid, but now I think someone has even put a bigger one, and this really allows you to drive a lot in EV mode and save on fuel. So in the city traffic, when you're in the standstill traffic, it's just using the battery for that, and it just saves you money. So on the open road, this will be also very efficient. On the highway, it is very likely if you're driving faster, you're going to deplete the battery. It's going to start kicking the petrol to recharge the battery, because you're also charging with the petrol and when you are braking or deaccelerating. So you will be on the highway once you deplete the battery, spending more fuel because you're carrying the battery and or at least the system is trying to recharge it as well. But I think you're going to be under 10 liters if you're driving at normal highway speeds. I'm referring to European 130 kilometers per hour. So I'm just going to speed up a little bit here. So it's kicked in the petrol. But yeah, so the electric motor has 136 horsepower and the petrol 102, but combined it would be more than 200, but it is not available. There's a hybrid with 200 plus horsepower, but it's not available in Croatia. It's only for certain markets. I don't know which ones, but I saw there is that engine option. Now, the system horsepower is 197 in this one, which is plenty for this SUV size. And why am I mentioning this? Because the electric motor really helps the petrol, and there is an option in Croatia to get the same petrol, again 4-cylinder naturally aspirated, so not a turbo, with 116 horsepower and a 5-speed manual. But it seems like enough on paper because this is not a heavy SUV, but I would advise you if you want to go on a road trip with a fully loaded car to go for this setup, for the Hybrid Plus, because non-turbo engines are usually slow, and if you're going uphill fully loaded, it's just going to lack power. So 116 horsepower won't be enough for this. this has almost 200 horsepower, at least system-wise, and that's more than enough. 150 would be fine, but this just flies. So this is, speeding up very nicely. Now I will switch to the sport mode as well, but just before that, just to see actually sport mode. So the car is very precise and very stable. If you're really aggressive, it might lean a lot, but I would not recommend that. I'm going to floor it here. Wow. So it's flying, man. It's super great. It's just so light and the performance is amazing. I mean, I haven't floored it yet in the sport mode, honestly, but because I'm driving in the normal. But it's just flying thanks to the electric motor. It's just instant torque aiding the petrol, and it picks up the speed with ease. Now I can see the headlights, excellent performance. We have automatic long beam, and it's a nice and wide beam. Now this is the smooth asphalt and the rough, but even on the smooth one, this is a smooth, still very noisy tires. Okay, I forgot to bring back the ways. So this is 100. So wind noise is more pronounced at 130 or even stronger at 150. Yeah, a little bit noticed here at 130 around the A-pillars and the side mirrors, but if you drop your speed, it's mostly the tire noise. Now I'm going to engage the MG Pilot. I can play with the distance and can go up for the speed. So it works pretty well. It keeps you in the lane, so if I deliberately just push it to the right, it's going to correct me, and it keeps me in the center. After about maybe 10 seconds, it's going to just tell me to keep my hands on the steering wheel. There you go. So you just apply a little force and it works great. Now this screen, if you have kids in the back, if you go to the home screen, there's a pull down menu and you can just go screen off and you can put the clock on. So if you don't want them to be flashed by the screen, you can do that. Of course, you can dim the screen even a bit more. I've just left it like in the middle. So the car is slowing down. You can see the blind spot as well. So I'll just change lane and it'll just continue on. I like these animations. They're not cool as in the new HS, but they do look decent. So overall, excellent cruising machine as well for those maybe longer commutes. Just going to check our fuel consumption is 4.2 at the moment, so it's not spiking up a lot. We did drive a little bit faster for the demo. Now some of you would maybe wish that this is more customizable. Maybe you can change colors. There's no day theme, unfortunately, unlike the main infotainment screen. But it's pretty solid, I would say, and informative, so I wouldn't complain. Now, the sad part maybe is that you don't have a full screen. The sides are like calculator fixated. Also interesting, when you're in EV, you're going to see the RPMs drop to 0. But again, it's just a little bit speed up, and you can hear the petrol screaming. It's a bit loud. But when you're driving it normally, it's pretty low, 2000 RPM. So when you're cruising, it's not too loud. Very nice. Now, for the base trim and Hybrid Plus, this starts at 25,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken. Here in Croatia, this top spec, that's fully loaded with an extra color option, though I think white color is free. This is 29,000 euros. So it's a very competitive price. Very comfortable SUV. You're nice and tall, good overview, easy to park. Even despite that you don't have the front parking sensors, but you have excellent 360 cameras. A lot of interior space, good boot space, or the cargo space, whatever you call that. And it's really nice to drive. Overall, a big improvement and a comfy SUV. The seats are comfortable and I feel fine. I came today from Zadar, so I was driving a lot, and then I've been driving this car as well, and the seats are really, really good. The driver has a lumbar and it's powered in the top trim. The front passenger isn't, unfortunately, and I'm not sure if it's height adjustable. I think it's the same as the past generation. That's one thing they need to maybe definitely put into the budget. But otherwise, the car is really amazing. And yeah, there's a lot of competition, but they are trying to improve the car. They've, again, invested a lot in this infotainment screen. They've invested in the digital cockpit and some of the materials. And considering that you get in the top trim full, it's vegan leather, but full leather option as standard is just really nice. Okay, we'll do headlights test, and we might do 0 to 100. It is actually impressive 8.7 seconds 0 to 100, which is actually not too bad for an SUV. Again, thanks to the electric motor aiding the petrol. Now, this car at low city speeds is really excellent soundproof, but then on the highway above 100 kilometers per hour, it is a bit noisy. But again, I think it's the tires mostly, a little bit of wind noise, but it's an SUV, so I wouldn't expect anything more different. Okay, we're gonna slow down here, get back to sport. There's no one in front or behind. We're gonna hold the brake, push the accelerator all the way, and release the brake. So that's the RPM. Brake test. Okay, the brakes are good. So the brakes are not super aggressive from the start. They're just like your standard brakes. And it was interesting. It took it a little bit, and then it started kicking. So that was pretty good. Now I'm noticing these there's little houses here that was not here before in the ramp. So I have no idea if there's like a security guard or something. No, but I think I'm gonna expect one in the future. There was a fire here in the background, so I don't need to go all the way. This is the headlights test, long beam, so I can see all the way to the end. It is nice and wide and nice and bright beam. So we don't have cornering fog lights because we don't have the fog lights, but it is pretty solid beam. Now, reverse cameras are always helpful, so it is always best to use your side mirrors, of course, but this camera is also very helpful because it's quite good brightness considering it was dark there. Now I have a feeling that they will lower these ramps in the future and I will lose the place where I was testing the headlights. So that's unfortunately that. You can see here now if I use a turn signal at low speed, it just engages it, but when you start driving faster, it just disengages that. And I can already see a question, can you put Waze on this digital cockpit? The answer is no, unfortunately. So you can see Waze is very useful because it always tells you where are the speeding cameras, so you can adjust your speed. Now, as you can see here, we're driving EV, so nice and quiet, and the petrol just kicked in. Okay, I wanted to check the fuel consumption, and then we're going to wrap it up. So 4.3, not bad at all. Now, should you buy this or shortlist it? Well, this is actually quite a good SUV in this spec. The middle trim is also very rich, so if you want to save a little bit, it's really not that bad. I would not advise you to go for the standard petrol, as I've mentioned. But I think it's worth it also if you have the budget to go for the stock trim. Because it's very well equipped, and now you can hear the pedestrian warning sound. Very comfortable SUV, good on fuel consumption, and a really good hybrid. A lot of power, so it's also fun to drive. It could be economical. Of course, it always depends on your driving style, but this one, really without sweat, is really efficient. So that is that. I will wrap it here. Show those cameras. So rear, sides, so excellent. And that's that. I'm gonna wrap it here. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Do subscribe and click the bell to get notified. I will actually leave after I end the video, so I'm just gonna leave the phone here. I will get out. I'm not sure why it's doing this. I noticed that in other cars as well. I don't think it's actually tied to the car, it's just to the phone being in the garage. That's that. Before I lock it, I will just once again unlock it so you can see the car in the garage, and just do a little walk around in this light environment so you can see the rear taillights. So looking very nice. This was the new MG ZS Hybrid Plus. Thank you for watching. If you haven't seen, check out the day, point of view driving with no comments, and check out the detailed day and night review. See you in the next one. Bye.